Hey everyone, so today we found this piece and we really liked this old, it could be used as a buffet or a dresser or a sideboard and it had so much potential. We loved the wooden inlays, but just felt that it was a little dark and just a little busy. So we decided to go a little bit lighter and remove a little bit of the hardware to give it a more minimal look. So of course the first thing that we always do is remove the old hardware, take out all the drawers and get it ready to be prepped. We're also removing some of these back plates and just keeping the pool as it was and removing these extra plates up at the top. It just gave it a more busy look and we feel like removing these will give it a much cleaner look. Then we also had to remove the doors because we'll be spraying both sides of those and we want to keep the inside nice and clean. Our plan is to go a little bit lighter with this with the wooden drawers, and so what we're going to do is we're going to put some tape underneath the holes where the hardware goes because we're going to be stripping this and we don't want any of it to get down into the drawer and mess the drawer up. Then we're going to put on a protective tape drape. You can find this in our Amazon. We will have it linked below, and this just keeps the inside of the drawer nice and clean. Now we are going to go ahead and strip. We are laying down a protective drape over our floors and using safety gloves, and we're pouring the stripper into these different containers and we're just applying it with a chip brush, letting it sit for a little bit, and then it'll be time to scrape it off and have a much lighter look. Here's a more close-up look at the drawers, and you can see it has a very unique design to it, which we think is a very big selling point for this dresser. So we want to keep that as our main feature of the dresser, but we want to make it lighter. So we're just going to be putting some stripper on and scraping it off, and then we use lacquer thinner or acetone, and we use it with a wool brush to kind of clean it and deactivate the stripper, and that in of itself also removes some of the old finish. After that, we're going to take a clean rag and we're just going to wipe it all off. And then it is time to clean the inside of the dresser. Just a little public service announcement: if you're ever donating your furniture, make sure that you remove the drawers and see what you have left behind. As you can see, this is filthy, so we're going to have to give it a good cleaning, but we have found some pretty interesting things on the inside of dressers. Usually it's clothes, but sometimes it's been some pretty important documents that have been left in there. So our plan is for a lighter look, so we're going to tape off the wooden accents that we're going to keep a lighter wood and keep the detail on, and we're going to tape it off so that we can spray the rest of the dresser in the color Perfect Khaki. We get asked a lot why we sand pieces before we paint them, and that is because there are a lot of scratches and dings that may not look very noticeable when it is stained, but when it is painted, it is very obvious. And so sanding the dresser down can remove a lot of those scratches and dings. You just want to make sure that you go from, don't skip a grit. So we typically start with like a 120 grit and then we go to a 180 grit. And that is where we typically stop, either the 180 or a 220 before we start painting. Now for cleaning, we use a mix of 50-50 mix of denatured alcohol and water. We just spray it onto the piece, and then we use our Surfprep sander with the maroon woven pad, and that just acts as a very good scrub brush, and we get a good cleaning and we don't have to work as hard to get a good scrub down. Just remember that the denatured alcohol does dry out a piece, so you want to go in with a clean wet rag and wipe it all back before you do a nice scuff sand before you are ready to prime and paint. And here's an example of scuff sanding, and you can see what the denatured alcohol looks like when the piece is dried. It's hard to find a thrift store piece that doesn't have one of these gouges in it, so what we're going to use is the Bondo spot putty, and we just put it on with a little spatula and we let it dry, and then we will sand it off, but then it just makes it look like it was never even there. Now on to priming. We are going to do the backs of the doors, and then we're going to do the front of the doors after this dries, but we are using a tinted primer. We use General Finishes Enduro 2K line, and the fun thing about this is that they can tint the paint to pretty much any big box color that we want. And the 2K part of the paint is that it has a catalyst that you add to the paint as you're mixing it, so that makes it a very durable product for us. And now we are on to priming the top. You can see the sides are already done, the front's already done, and the top is what we save for last. And that just means that we don't get any of the dust or anything that flies up from our paint settling into our finish on the top, which is the most important part that people are going to notice first. After that, we are going to scuff sand in between coats. We're using our Surfprep sander again, just to give a light scuff sand, and then we go in with our paint. And we are going in with the color Perfect Khaki, and it is just a darker but still light neutral. And back to those doors, now that we have stripped them, we have a much lighter look. We're going to give it a light sanding, and we're going to keep this natural look, and we're just going to do a top coat on it. And sometimes the top coat makes it tint just a little bit darker, but really not too much. And after we do all of the drawers, now it is time to get everything put back together. We're putting the hardware back onto the doors, all the hinges, minus the plates that were on some of them, and we're putting the original hardware back in because I just think it looks so, it just fits the piece. So this was the before, very dated, very busy with all the different parts of the hardware, and here is the after. We love how light it looks, but it's still keeping with the charm, and we think it looks so much better without all of the plates behind the hardware that was on the doors. It just gives it a much cleaner look, and we love how it turned out. If you liked this video and you want to see more of this, make sure that you like and subscribe to our channel and leave a comment below what you would like to see us do next.